Danny is all or nothing. He will eat Macca's every weekend, or if he's going to say he's being healthy, he'll only like his wild. There's no in between.
I ended up in accounting, so I'd done the business IT degree, ended up in accounting just because a friend rang and said, we have a job in an accounting firm, do you want to try? I was like, come have a look, and ended up at Kelly+Partners. The culture here, Kelly+Partners, like from our CEO, Brett, is very much like a learning organisation. To lay that with like lots and lots and lots and lots of work. I actually find it really difficult to expect an 18-year-old to know what they're going to do for the next 40 years of their life.
Little Homie was such a success, I think.
I guess that is the beauty of the world we live in, that you can launch a business from your couch. It's so easy to overcomplicate it. It's like literally just start. There's crazy stories of us just making so many stupid mistakes and learning the expensive way.
You see the success and it's like really easy, but it's really hard just in the detailed day-to-day, managing a business, managing the kids, everything else. It's like, I just need to have some time. But that business could have failed as well.
Yeah, for sure.
That didn't work, and Jess would have gone back to work, but we would have launched something else or something. We're always going to swing the bat.
Dan and Jess, thanks so much for joining me on Thirstee Coconut. I really appreciate you both being here.
No issue at all. Thank you for having us.
I've been watching your journey over the last 9 years where we met at a family wedding. I'll say up front, full disclosure, my dance floor agility has declined since that 9 year. But if I had to bust out a move on demand, I'm sure I could do some form of dancing.
At least you had dance ability to start with. That's not our street.
Well, we can all sing.
Can't all see.
See, well, just as well, you're intelligent and me. The confidence is there, but the ability is not. Look, I've been following along your journey, and I've been so blown away by your journey, Dan, as a senior partner with Kelly+Partners Accountants, and of course, Jess, becoming an entrepreneur in your hugely successful company, Little Homie, and we could deep dive into all of that later. But first, I wanted to sort of take you both back on memory lane and start off with hearing from each of you what you were like as high school students. So perhaps maybe we start with ladies first. Jess, what were you like as a high school student? If you can,
this is like
if you can just back that far.
I start crying, is it weird? I would like to think, I loved high school. I had a great experience.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. And it's where I met Danny, to be honest. So we are going on 21 years together. So and a lot of the friends I made at high school, I'm still friends with today.
Yeah. Were you ever a serious student? Did you ever, or was it?
I think I was a good mix of the middle. I wasn't serious, but I didn't muck around either. I got some pretty solid grades where I applied myself and where I cared. So I'm definitely creative side.
Yes.
Hence my career. But where I applied myself, I got really good results. So I was proud of them.
Yeah.
And I beat him in the HSC. So that's my lifetime flex.
But you're a claim to fame.
Yeah,
Stick to it.
100%. He's intelligent. But
And you're the pass that down with the kids.
100%. If my kids kill it in life, it's because of me.
And Jane, how about you? What were you like as a student in high school?
Probably similar, like in the middle. I wasn't studying every day, but I also wasn't getting in trouble every day either. I probably mucked around a bit, but always escaped any major issues.
Right.
Enjoyed school, had fun. Everything was maths-based, so the opposite to Jess, zero creativity,
right.
All maths-based, logic kind of subjects.
Yes.
Never wagged a day of school, never got in trouble for anything.
100% attendance from both of us. Our parents wouldn't let us do it.
Well, not yeah. If I was sick or something, Dad's like either going to hospital or school. So
yeah.
But yeah, mostly interested in sports and girls. So I did. School wasn't hard at all. Yeah, Mum and Dad were very good with forcing me to think about studying and whatnot. And they immigrant generation, they don't know about. They didn't have that same push. So their my grandparents came and just worked 3-4 jobs as Jess's parents did.
Yeah.
So our parents kind of went to school when they felt like it, and their way of kind of giving back to us was, you need to get an education, and force us to go to school every day.
Yeah.
Obviously, sometimes you get frustrated as a kid, but in
100%.
backwards looking, it's well, they couldn't have done much more. So
yeah. And I was going to ask, I mean, I know you said that you were in the middle, Jess, neither here nor there in terms of actually shifting the dial. You didn't want to go too far, be sort of potentially going on the rogue side, which most of us like to do.
Yeah.
But were you, I guess, intentional about the subjects that you chose in the last year of high school?
Well, I think I was, and that's obviously what steered me to arts and that kind of stuff. Advanced English was obviously not the creative side, but again, I was much better at that side of things than I was anything to do with math or science or anything that related. And I guess I was never a high school kid who was like, oh gosh, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I always knew I wanted to do something creative. And I mean, I didn't even go to uni. I went to fashion college straight out of school. So I guess for me, it showed me too, even with my kids that, and I don't know how Danny feels about this, to be honest, but I'm not going to push that on my children because it really doesn't. I care much more about the skill sets they're going to have versus the pieces of paper they have behind them.
Yeah.
So I think that was cool to see that, like, we've obviously had very different journeys out of school, but we've found success either way, I guess. So, yeah.
So what were the subjects out of interest?
Oh, I did like design and technology.
Right.
Visual arts, like arts, I topped. Design and technology, I topped. I'm pretty sure I came second. I was very high in that. Then I think an elective was hospitality. But then I did advanced English as well. Math was always general math. I did not thrive there. This guy could have looked after me, but didn't help me. And then religion was compulsory, being at a Catholic school.
Right.
And then that was it, I believe. God, you have any more subjects in that?
No, I think that's what
we're so different.
Mine was 4-unit maths, physics, and software design. Like, it could not be more the same. Then general English and religion. It's like we're the exact opposite sides of the brain.
Yeah, right. So, Danny, how about you then? Did you know that those subjects were going to get you where you are today?
Zero. Like, so I did what I
where my brain
just said before. How like I'm lucky in life.
Yeah.
This is the example.
Yeah,
like I just did what I enjoyed, or my friends were doing, or whatever. And things kind of just play out. But there wasn't. I actually find it really difficult to expect an 18-year-old to know what they're going to do for the next 40 years of their life. Like, obviously, generations prior, potentially that was a little bit easy because the options were probably more limited. Whereas now in our world, it's like, it's silly to think that at 18, you're going to have a game plan for 40 years of life.
And especially since the world is your oyster, literally, in this day and age. Whereas, as you say, back then we were textile and manufacturing.
Yeah. Which factory do you want to work? Which factory do you want to work at in the local town?
Exactly. Car making, proximate to the location you were working in, and very, very different to these days, which is highly globalized. You can pretty much be or do is anything you want if you set your mind to it. And so then the subjects, gosh, that's so interesting because I look at you and I think, no, you wouldn't have done physics. You would have done you would have done religion.
And it's just I have a logical maths. Not that I killed any of those, but it's my brain works more logic than it does.
The right and the left side of the brain.
Well, we couldn't be more of a
have a couple right there.
I do not know how to use Excel to this day. Not even a simple thing. Let's go.
You know what? You should be too.
Yeah. You say that, but then watch her in an Excel. You'd appreciate this because you like Control C, Control V. No idea. You're like, God, like stop right clicking.
At some point.
Not that that's Excel.
Control C, Control V. You had to.
No, it's horrendous. I'm embarrassed.
Back to you, Daddy. Did you go to university? I know Jess said she hadn't attended university. Did you then get accepted into uni? And
so I was playing, like, when I first finished school, 2003, 2004, I got an engineering course for accepted engineering, done that for 2 weeks and was like, this is too hard. I'm not doing this for 5 years. Because I just didn't, I didn't enjoy what I was doing. And like, I just went there because I think my dad or someone said, you should try that. And I knew straight away, like, there's no world where I could stick this out. There was a 2-hour bus trip each way each day. And I'm like, fuck, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
So I quit that and was just playing football. I got my real estate license, went to the job interview through that. And they're like, you have to work on, like, yep, you can start next Saturday. I'm like, oh, I can't work Saturdays. Like, what do you mean you can't work Saturdays? Like, real estate these Saturdays. I'm like, I got sport. Like, you probably need to think this is after getting my license. So I didn't do that. And then I went and just worked on like a building site, labouring or whatnot. And then my brother finished school the year after me, and he like called me. He's like, "Hey, I'm enrolling in uni. Do you want me to enroll for you?" I'm like, "Yeah, right." He's like, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I don't really care. Just enroll me in whatever you do." And so I think he was going to do something that was like, my brother's a lot smarter than me. I think he got like high 90s for his UAI. Yeah. And I think he was planning to do like actuary but because I didn't have those marks, he downgraded his course and ended up doing a business and IT degree, and he just enrolled me in it as well. So I ended up joining that way.
What a journey.
This is my life. Like,
And some of the exams or presentations, Danny was playing football. His brother would go to uni as Danny and present for him.
I was overseas.
Genuinely thank his brother for the perfect partnership. The world really came together for you, Danny. When you were born by the sounds of like that.
Had a good run.
That's a very good run. You would have had to deal with pressures along the way. But before that, you'd met each other, I imagine. When was that point?
I was doing my HSC basically. I was in year 12. He was in the year above me, so he'd already left.
We'd known each other for years before that. Like,
As we were friends or
friends
of each other?
And Jess's family run the local newsagent. So as a kid from when I was like 10, I'd been there reading magazines and that.
And the brother Danny speaks of, who went to uni with him, was in my grade at school. So we knew like families were connected. Yeah.
And you weren't really reading those magazines, were you?
Literally would go up to the magazine.
And my mum always told me there's this boy, I really think you should date him. He's so cute. So like, it's funny. And I never saw him like that at all. Like he dated my friends. And then, so we met in school, and it's funny because you say like, there must have been a point where it just like went well for you guys, but it's so funny. Everyone likes to see that or think that, but there's so many years of just like hustle before that even happens, so like, God, we don't even have the time, but like, we had nothing. Like I said, I went to fashion college then, got a job in editorial, getting paid like 30 grand a year. You were hustling at your grandparents' nursery, potting plants, getting paid hardly anything out of uni, playing footy.
And was this while you were together?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been together since
21 years we've been together. 18. Yeah. All our friends are like traveling Europe and like getting like really good jobs and doing all these wonderful things. And that was not our life. We were like, had no money, lived at home with our parents, never moved out of home till we got married, actually.
Yeah.
So we're on a very different path to everyone around us, for sure.
So did you travel?
So not the traditional way that most people travel. Like
in their 20s.
In their 20s, yeah. Like I've been to over 30-something countries, which has been amazing, but largely through like sport, or Jess was working at magazines. We got paid shit, but then she'd have to go to different countries to do photo shoots. So we got to see the world, but not in the same way. That it wasn't like a big Europe holidays or anything like that. It was very much like 2 days in Scotland, then a day in Wales, and then go to Ireland and so traveling for sport.
For a purpose. And so you traveled together or separately? So
I never traveled on my own. I only ever traveled if it was with you.
You went with your mum to Thigga. You went to like Cook Islands.
Well, that was work, Cook Islands.
Sorry. Yeah.
The work stuff I traveled on my own, because again, in the editorial role, it was shit pay, but really cool perks. So when you're young, that makes a lot of sense and it's fun. I got to go to some really cool places, and like we got to go to the Maldives together because I worked at a bridal magazine to like review a honeymoon destination. So as 20-something-year-olds, we were cheering because something we never could have afforded in our lives. So we had all those little spurts, but again, because we're in a committed relationship, we never did the crazy drunken Euro.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet, yeah.
What do they call those holidays? What do they call those holidays? The crazy drunken ones.
Like the Kentucky. Yeah. No,
you didn't do that.
Tours. All our friends did.
Go on family holidays as kids? Did your parents and stuff?
Yes.
No, I saw that. Like our to Queensland or like up the coast, not international. No.
Me and Mel, went with mum and dad to America a few times, but that was probably it.
And so just on your travel, did you take away did that at all set you up for your perspectives later in life when you eventually went into, business? And
like for me, sometimes like I remember going to Papua New Guinea when I was 14 or 15 for footy, and then coming back from that and being like, my whole perspective of life changed. I was only went for 5 days or something, but it was like the first time I ever saw people not have food available every day, or like girls who never shaved their underarms and walked around. So it was just, that was the first time my mind was like, whoa, the whole world. And I remember coming back from, like, I used to be a really fussy eater. And I literally came back from that trip and just ate everything after that. I was like, just changed my whole perspective.
That's big for a little kid to do that.
You're
young.
Yeah,
Young enough.
Yeah.
It sounds like a really life-changing moment for you. It was realize how lucky we actually are in Australia versus what other people are.
And that's probably another big point. The more I've traveled, the more I appreciate home so much.
Yeah. Even if you went to places like London, for example, or major hub cities, you have everything.
So much.
Still Australia, the weather, careers are there.
Everything.
You're still exposed to whatever you need.
Yeah. I feel like, there's obviously a little bit of, your home, but I just feel safer.
Yeah.
Like Australia feels really safe. It's over policed or over like, I can't ride my bike without a helmet kind of thing. Like it's a nanny state, but at the same time, you feel comfortable.
Yes. And were there any defining moments for you, Jess, on your travel, or is it that you shared the same sentiment with Danny? Like when you went away, you just felt more.
I feel like I still would love to travel a lot more. Like he said, he's been to a lot of countries I haven't in comparison. So I still have that in me where I think you'd happily never travel again, and you would not never travel again, but take a break. It wouldn't bother you either way.
Give me a beat and a book and I'm happy.
Yeah, I agree. I'm definitely a summer gal, but I think, like when I did the travel for the magazines and stuff, I remember thinking to myself, because I was like peak me being poor and coming nothing. I was like, God, I can't wait to one day be able to come and do this and be able to afford it. Like it did give me drive, because you obviously get a taste for like these beautiful things, and you're like, I'd love to be able to go back.
Now this is like a $5,000 a night room.
About 20 years ago.
We're like kids, you're earning like 30 grand a year.
And I'm also on these locations.
Like our week accommodation was your annual pay.
Seriously, that's like YOLO moment. They don't think of they're like 21 or 22 doing that, and we're like, this is incredible.
Fantastic.
And then when I'm in the other locations working, I'm like, I was the assistant, so I'm like steaming wedding dresses and hustling, so I'm not really getting to enjoy it. So it was those moments where I was like, I can't wait to come back here and actually holiday here. So it gave me drive for sure.
Yeah, I think it gave you almost the best of both worlds for the two of you. You saw what it was like to live the high life and something to aim for if that's what you're if you're into the luxuries, and I am, sure, why not?
Same.
But you also saw what it was like to be right at the bottom of the of the hole, right? And so it gave you that perspective to say, okay, well, this is where some people are starting here and the gap is there, and
a bit of appreciation and a bit of aspiration.
100%
for sure.
And I just wanted to sort of go back to a reflection on your 2024 year, guys. It was so big. Okay, let me list up what I've got here for you. Right, so it was quite a big year for you, and I might have missed some things, so feel free to add to the list. So Dan, you celebrated 10 years with Kelly+Partners in September. You also shared some very cool pointers for business owners for how to run balance their books on Geronimo Unfiltered in August. And then you both, Jess, you sold Little Homie. You both built your dream home in 2024. You both celebrated your 20-year anniversary in 2024.
Yeah.
And then I think there's this other piece around the kind of what next for you, because that's a lot, right, to have gone through in 1 year. Reflecting back on that year, what were I suppose you talked about how challenging that was. If you were to pick any one of those milestones, which one do you feel was the toughest one? Because your home, you built, I think your dream home last year, you built that. Was that one of the toughest moments that you had to get through, or was it then you realizing, wow, I've been with Kelly+Partners for 10 years and what a milestone, or was it selling Little Homie?
I don't know, you listed out, like you said earlier, like to your point where you never stop and realize that. I think we stopped and thought, in saying that, we do goal boards every year, and when we built the house, we're like, tick, because that has taken so long to do. So it felt good ticking that. I don't know. What do you think?
I think, obviously, for me, the house is in terms of difficulty. It wasn't hugely difficult up until the end, where it's just been hard. The last 10% to be really
horrible, yeah.
But for the most part, it just happened in the background. But the accomplishment achievement, that was
for the first few weeks, we felt we definitely had like imposter syndrome. Walking through this house going, there's no way. We don't deserve to be touching ourselves going, is it happening to us? Yeah, where the kids are like straight at home, they're creating monsters in them. But no, we were like, whoa. And still, like we've been in there nearly 6 months and we're like, we just don't want to be anywhere else. We love being home now. So nice.
It's amazing. But yeah, like it's, you're scratching the surface of the year in terms of quick highlights, but hearing it in successions, like we do a lot.
It's a lot. Because I think you did something in rugby as well. And I think you also, you did some, is it MMH or some in the cage? Did a fight, lost a couple of years back.
He won his fight. Yes, huge. And the training for that, like I was also obviously prepping all these meals and stuff, but like Danny is all or nothing. He will eat Maccas every weekend, or if he's going to say he's being healthy, he'll only like he's wild. There's no in between. So he lost 20 kilos and like secured his fight. It was such a cool thing to watch. Yeah, inspiring. It was incredible. Whilst working 100 hours a week. So
I know. And in the lead up, because I was going to talk about that as well, in the lead up to all of that, Danny, you also then you put yourself on this challenge of reading a book every month, I think, for quite some time.
That was
a number of years back. Yeah. That in itself is a huge challenge because it takes, concentration and willpower. Concentration and willpower to want to read in the first place.
It only takes concentration and willpower if it's not something you enjoy.
Yeah.
So like I enjoy business stories or learning, or like part of the culture here, Kelly+Partners, like from our CEO Brett, is very much like a learning organization. So it's like the idea of reading and learning it's not something that needs willpower. Of just I enjoy it.
I read somewhere that reading is a privilege and it's not enjoyed by everybody because you actually need to take the time away from your busy life to actually get through a book. And so I think about you getting through all of those books every month would have just been.
He's got a hack though that he doesn't tell anyone. He'll listen to an audiobook on 2-speed. It's the most stressful thing you've ever heard because he can take in more in a shorter time frame. But when I'm listening to it, I feel like I'm having a panic attack. It's like, and he's taking this like high intelligent like content. I'm like, how is
and even learning potentially new words, new terms.
Oh man,
how you then
sometimes you're saying it in the car and the kids are like, Dad, please turn it off.
Some punishment. So you punish your children along the journey.
Yeah, and so that's his little hack in getting through it. He like kills it and does it.
And importantly, Jess, you spend a lot of time raising the kids. Obviously, Danny, being very busy with Kelly+Partners. What's it like for you on a day-to-day basis? I mean, I'm just thinking about all those thirsty coconuts out there who, live to get to the dream, but then they look for love as well. And you found both along the way, obviously not easily, but then you managed to have children as well along the way as well. Now you're raising your children, very young primary school kids. What's it like?
Yeah, that's been a big journey. And like for me, the whole point of Little Homie was like I didn't just want to be a mum. Like I saw like people around me really just lose themselves, I guess. So Homie saved me from that, I feel like. And I thrived while also really struggled at the same time, and Danny can vouch for that. Like I was exhausted and running on adrenaline because again, like respectfully, he was never home. So I was like, and we don't have family close by. My mum would come maybe once or twice a month, but it wasn't like what people had around them. So that was hard, not gonna lie. Had a lot of hard times there. And again, it was just adrenaline. And it's why, we only decided to have 2 kids and not more because it was just we wouldn't have been able to do it all. But it's been a real sweet spot for us. And then it's been so nice because the last 7 years and I ran the business whilst raising small kids, which really was challenging. But now that I've sold the business, I'm in such a beautiful place of being able to be a mum and a mum only. And it's a privilege for sure. There's people that would be listening to this like knowing they can't do that yet or will never be able to. But I don't take that for granted at all. I'm able to be so present at school. If they're getting an award, I can be there. Because like, again, he's not going to have that flexibility and now I can. And that is like the best in the world, being able to be at a school pickup and just stuff like that. There's kids that won't get that. And I hope one day the kids realize that and appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that's right, because it feels like a championship when you've had feels like you've won the championship once you've had your kids.
Yeah.
But then don't speak too early, because wait till they're in their 20s. All getting up together. Especially with social media being right there. So it's kind of, I'm not going to, it's forward your lives. Enjoy it while you can. I will say primary school age is the best. It's a sweet spot. Well, we've all been teenagers, haven't we?
It feels like that. But Lola's just turned 8 and it's already like the attitude stuff is, and then he's like, she talks about brand names and boys, and I'm like, you're 8, like, it's crazy.
I was thinking about
they're growing up so much, like the access to the world, they're growing up so much faster.
How to limit them from getting a phone. I saw mine in year 12, like it's wild.
Yeah.
Like,
You're not too busy worried about not swearing.
well, you only learn from your circle. So like what we grew up with was very controlled by our parents and our community and our friends, whereas now they come up with ideas or terms or songs or dances or whatever that they got the whole world's influence.
Not just to keep up with your kids is probably
Possible.
you know, it's not going to be keeping up with the Kardashians. Cheers. And so Jess, with kids, Little Homie was such a success, I think. I remember when you started crowdfunding for the project.
You guys were one of our funders.
We were indeed, and it was such a pleasure. We have your book,
Love that.
sitting there, high G bookcase at eye level. And I remember, I think I recalled, Dan, you'd said to Jess when you'd launched, you know, well done, babe, finally went for it. You know, it was like a courageous moment for you to kick your ideas off. Tell us a little bit about how that actually came about and how difficult it was to get it up and running.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of points to that. Like I touched on it before that Danny and I do a goal board every year and make it visual, and it's on our wall. It's not just a note in our phones, because that was something he always drilled home, was saying like, we're looking at it all the time. It forces you to do it.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was that year I was pregnant. It was coming towards the end of the year, and I was it was actually Daddy's last goal. We'd done everything else, but Daddy's last goal is to write a business book. And he's like, I'm not going to get the time to do it. And then he's like, how about you do that idea you've always had? It wasn't on the goal board at the time, but I always wanted to do a hip hop ABC book. And I was like, shit, okay. I was going on that leave. Actually, no, it was a bit before that, because I was still working on it in my old job on the side.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of went for it. And I guess that is the beauty of the world we live in, that you can launch a business from your couch. It's not like, over the years, I've had so many people contact me or DM me to say like, God, where did you even begin? But I feel like it's so easy to overcomplicate it. It's like, literally just start. And that was what he built in me, because I would have been that person too, going, where the hell do you start? But he just broke it down for me, and he's like, get on Alibaba. Like, again, you don't need the money. Like, we crowdfunded the money to do it. You didn't have the money.
So we got a quote, and to do the design, I was like, well, we can't afford it, because we had no money.
That's the think outside
So
the
we're like,
box.
let's go do crowdfunding.
We were living out
We were
of
just like, what's crowdfunding? Well, check out this.
Kickstarter. I just went on Kickstarter, and like
Our video actually came up the other day. Is there a
and like the video we did on Kickstarter was horrible. Like
So-
now knowing like the
like, you
quality
know, all
of
these
content.
cameras that you've got in here, right?
Right. We were like it was terrible. The lighting, shocking.
The sheet.
The sheet. Oh yeah, it was so bad. But it's what makes it part of the journey and the story. But
And we should have known better, but we're so dumb.
kind of did it. Like, I was pregnant in the bloody video, like promoting.
And then we
cool
just
stuff.
hustled, like we harassed all our family and
It
friends.
was a big network at the time. So 90 or 70%, I'd say, of the funding was from family and friends.
Yes.
A few kind of filtered in.
Yes.
And it's kind of before social media was what it was today. So it was, I guess, in that sense, was a bit easy to go viral if you had something that
People liked.
Yeah, now it's obviously a lot harder to click. And yeah, so that was wild. Never in my wildest dreams. Danny told me to print 1,000 books, and I was tripping out, because I'm like, there's no way I'm going to sell 1,000 books.
Yes.
And then, you know, the rest is history. And so it's funny.
And what was your role in that behind the scenes? I imagine there was
At
a lot
the
of
time,
support,
a lot of push, a lot of
Push chest.
push, yeah, operations. He helped me with systems as well, setting up like once we knew the success of the brand and stuff, he was helping me set up 3PL warehouses, like that kind of stuff. Again, the logical
creative.
Finance.
We just had 2 roles.
I smashed the creative. He did all that. Would not have been able to do it.
And then having like the business here where we're dealing with business owners every day, just we needed to find a clothing printer as an example, and we had clients that were there, or needed someone to help.
Not only that,
I had clients, so I knew who to go to connect the dots.
And you also knew how to make something profitable too. Like that's huge in business, like making sure my margins are right. And if once it went past books and I was making certain products, he's like, that's not going to make sense unless it's priced here. Again, I would have never known that. And a lot of people going into business don't. So it's really handy.
Yeah, like we had a good mix of skills, which
it's a perfect dynamic. I keep saying. And what sorts of strategies did you apply to keep you on track? Because I imagine you would have been derailed along the way. You would have had.
I reckon it was survival challenges. Like a lot of it was reactive and survival, and like there's crazy stories of us just making so many stupid mistakes and learning the expensive way, or and again managing being a first-time mum and learning all that stuff whilst the success of the business that we were not prepared for. I'm going to say early on there was zero process. Like there was
survival. Zero. Yeah, we didn't. So tracking goals and KPIs at a macro level is very much like we're not in the detail of like, we need to earn X dollars or this. Like we weren't looking at it that way.
Yeah.
It's not looking backwards. Joining the dots is really easy and go like, these are the things that work. But obviously it's like bumper bowling on the way there, where you're like, even with all the knowledge, friends, resources, whatever, it's still a find the path.
Yeah.
And then just lay that with like lots and lots and lots and lots of work.
And heart and soul.
Yeah. Like blood, sweat, tears. We went to my dad's wedding, which was overseas, and we're up till 2 a.m. every day.
I was 6 months old.
Yeah, everyone out partying, and we're on customer service emails all the time.
And that's when we're still working out a Gmail with no system set up. So there's like hundreds, because again, there was an issue, there was posties with hundreds of customers. He'd start at one end of the inbox, I'd start at the other, and we just stay up all night responding to customers. And that's the stuff people don't see.
So there's like, success is, the end success is really easy to highlight. The path there is just.
And even early in our 20s, like, super random, but like we had a headphone store at Parramatta Westfield that we went with 3 other Danny's cousins, put in like thousands each. It was a fail.
Yeah.
But and we lost money on that. But like again, it's just repetition and like learnings and again, like I'm really proud of us for our age and doing that at the time. Because again, all our friends were in Europe partying. We're like, no, let's start a business and do this. And it was
every weekend we're in a prison of.
We'd work at full-time jobs, and then on Saturday, Sunday, me and Danny would work at Para. Like I hated it.
I think it's almost this whole. It's not even the strategy just gets set aside.
It does.
It's like you guys are just run hard, build the plane while you're flying it. Yes. With heart and soul, and you figure out the manual later, right?
Yeah.
Post launch.
Yes. So it's legal. Spend their whole lives building the manual.
I deal with
You
deal with like here. It's dealing with accountants. Accountants by nature are pretty risk adverse and like look for the reason why things are problems. Yeah. Same with lawyers. Like that's how you train.
Yeah.
Got into my brain works the exact opposite. It's like, we're going to attack it this way and then we'll figure out the problems on the way. But exactly how you're kind of saying it.
I wonder if your employees kind of look at you as counterintuitive, because you kind of go, no, we're going to risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out later. Yeah. But at the same time, you in the back of your mind, you already have the end in mind and you know how to get there.
Yeah.
It's just almost like you know how to be a leader to get you where you need to be. But you also know how to support people along the way strategically.
It's a bit of all of it, private combined. But I think anyone that's running their own business has to be some sort of visionary to go, the future is over here. This is where we're going towards.
Yeah, that's right.
But without having the clear roadmap of exactly how we're going to get there.
Yeah.
I'm working in an accounting firm, so it's not like we're creating rockets going to Mars. We're not doing anything majorly revolutionary, but we're still just pushing micro boundaries.
Yes, because you're head down, ass up in the accounting space, and because you really have to care about your clientele.
Correct.
And you're actually thinking about their future as well. You're actually projecting out what potentially.
And you carry it too, it's hard, And
it's very hard for you to then step back and go, okay, well, here's get off the dance floor and kind of look at your overall picture, I imagine, because you're too busy trying to, sort of juggle all the other important things in your life. And at some point you then have to step back and go.
Don't do it enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, never. Like we spend our whole day solving kids' problems, solving team problems, solving client problems.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you step back and solve your own or think about your own stuff in enough detail.
Yes.
We try to make like once a year kind of that goal setting session where we like just.
I was going to ask, is that a strategy or a goal in itself at some point where if we think about gold board, what is that gold thread that's going to cut through the complexity of what you're having to deal with on a day-to-day basis to then be able to step
So
back?
right now we do it once a year, but in my head, like progress of our lives is getting out of the detail of the day-to-day of what we're doing and spending more time at a strategic level of like, next level up, like what are we investing? What are we, each business or each channel, like what are you doing down there?
Yes. And if I ask you about Kelly+Partners, you'd spent the last 10 years with Kelly+Partners. Is that something that you knew you were going to be doing for 10 years and then eventually be in the business itself? Do you know what I mean? Like, had you known that? I mean, you talked about engineering, you talked about real estate license. You were playing sport. You thought you were going to be an NRL player at some point. You were working on building sites. You'd gone into uni and not even knowing what on earth you were doing in university, and here you are 10 years later.
So funny.
Kelly+Partners.
So I had jobs before these, but it's all been the path of the phone rings and I say yes to the opportunity, and it goes there.
Yeah.
I ended up in accounting, so done the business IT degree, ended up in accounting just because a friend rang and said, we have a job in an accounting firm doing the trial. I was like, come have a look, and ended up at Kelly+Partners in a similar scenario, like had an opportunity. I couldn't take the opportunity because I wasn't there, needed a bigger firm, and rang a friend who was at Kelly+Partners and he said, come talk to Brett, and one thing led to another. Like it wasn't a plan to get plan. So life, I guess, values or whatnot is very much like say yes to opportunity and work really hard. Like it doesn't.
So is this kind of your sweet spot right now? You're kind of enjoying?
If I rewind to what Jess said before, I worked with my brother in a nursery. It was my grandparents' nursery growing up. And we used to, while we were working, we'd talk about what we wanted to build or do when we're older. And it was very much like what we described was, help people with their businesses and help them build out plans. Like it's very much what my role is today. Just we didn't know that was the role of a partner in an accounting firm.
Yeah.
So we described this idea of it, and I landed in that spot.
Yes.
Without a game plan to get there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes sense. And I imagine obviously for you, for all the things that you'd gone to as well, to then land up in becoming an entrepreneur yourself is the lead up of that, but you don't really know where it's going to land in the end. You have a vision, but you don't know that that's where you put your flag. Right.
So I went from fashion college to then magazines, and then realized that's not going to pay a mortgage or get me a house. We were getting older, realizing this is not okay. So then I went to an accounting firm to be a PA and hated it, but knew I just had to do it and kind of just accepted that for a period of time. And that's when I was kind of hustling. Then because he was starting Kelly+Partners and I was doing his bookkeeping work on the side at my full-time job to help him, and then started working on my business while I was there. And then to not have to go back to that role, because I launched the business when I was on mat leave, was the best feeling ever. That was cool.
Yeah. And that was such a boss move, I will say. It's a boss move. Who goes on parental leave and then starts a business at the same time? It's crazy. It's massively boss. It gives off boss energy for sure.
But it's very probable that business could have failed as well.
Yeah, for sure.
That didn't work, and Jess would have gone back to work, but we would have launched something else or something. We're always going to swing the bat.
Yeah, I love that. So I've got a question to ask you both. One is, Jess, for you, what next? You sold Little Homie.
So many people are asking.
Do you have something in mind? Or are you keeping that a little secret? You're boiling something up?
I think I have a bit of trauma from starting my own business again. Everyone's like, another business? I'm like, oh, too soon, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know yet. I'm loving being Lola and Val's mum and not being stressed, because Danny's seen it. Like, they have seen such a stressed level of me, and a bit of regret will be me for the rest of my life for that, because I feel like I didn't enjoy them as babies as much as I should have. So I'm really trying to make that up now. But in saying that, we've spoken about it before, and there's so much going on in our lives that it makes sense to just really support him and help him. So at the moment, I'm working in Danny's office 1 or 2 days a week and kind of just taking on a role of like events, and because he's building out a whole part of his business for that. And that, again, from the EA work and stuff I did, it kind of comes as second nature, being organised and whatever.
Yes.
So for now I'm doing that and it works. I've got the flexibility while the kids are young, so that makes sense. I don't want to pull myself away from the kids again right now.
Yeah. And
really,
sorry, proceed.
I was going to say, it's like, again, like you see the success and it's like really easy, but it's really hard just in the detailed day-to-day managing a business, managing the kids, everything else. It's like, I just need to have some time.
Yeah, I always said I'd have a breather. But then because we were finishing the house and stuff, it still hasn't felt like a real breather. But now it's a really nice spot. It'd be hard to go back to like, let's go again. Because again, he is never home. And I have a lot of people around me in their marriages and families have a husband who's very hands-on, and I just don't have that. And again, I'm here to support that because that's just what makes sense right now. My job's to be at home and his job is to go 100 miles an hour. So, yeah, it makes sense for us right now. And
yes, as well. And I think it's really important to focus on your family because that's what you decided to do. This is what
and their ages right now. Like this is what they're remembering.
Formative ages. Yeah, they're always going to remember mom and dad. And I think it's okay, isn't it, in life to pivot and stop and actually do something different and then go again if you want to. That's the beauty of life.
If you can't make that decision, what's the point?
And all those, like, you've listened to 100 business stories and all those big brands, like there's one specifically, didn't he start in his like 70s? Who was it?
Macca's was 50s, KFC 70s.
Yeah, like
he's always Ray Kroc
was
when he was 55. Yeah, I know. So 17 years at Macca's, grand restaurant. So I said,
like that is always in the back of my mind. Like age is a number. Like, and like you said, you want to do this forever because you'll enjoy it, like that's what I hope. That's my goal, to get to something where I'm doing something for the love of it and I'm enjoying it and I don't care how old I am.
And so is the key message, guys, Danny, starting with you, is the key message just love what you're doing?
I think so. I think define success.
Yeah.
And
that means
like for us, if that's, have fun every day, enjoy what you're doing with people that you love kind of thing. It's like, well, that's essentially what we've done our whole lives. It probably coming from a place of privilege, like we kind of said before, where it's like, it's all easy to say this now when you're at the other side of it and you could have a bit of choice. But like for us, that's what's worked.
Yeah. And I think privilege, it comes in context. Privilege in Australia could be, a different definition to privilege in PNG, as you said.
Correct. Correct.
But it's all in context. So I will have one last question for each of you. If success were a coconut, what are the 3 layers that make it a whole, both in your relationship and in business? Ladies first.
I am such a lover, so like love and communication is big. Really being aligned on a journey and like putting as much energy into your relationship as your kids. I've always been big on that. Again, going back to the love piece of like finding joy in what you do every day, for sure. Because otherwise you'll just be miserable, and 5 days a week of your life is way too much to not be happy. And the last one, gosh, what would the last one be? Just have fun. Literally have fun. Like, find the joys. Again, easy to say, but like there's been a lot of hardship for us.
Yeah.
So like focusing on the positives, having been with such a positive human being nearly more than half my life, he has taught me to just like smile and just be happy, and it really does just work. Like, it's that's been the best.
I love that. There are things we take for granted. All the things that you've listed, we take for granted. We don't really,
And I always think this. I think you said it to me, or someone has said it to me. Like, don't wait for a tragedy to appreciate what you've got, which is what a lot of people do. So I try and practice that a lot and instill it in the kids, just to be grateful for what you have, and because they're obviously growing up way more privileged than I did as an 8 or 6 year old. So not saying I had a bad life, but just really making sure not their life. God.
Yeah. Those are really great pieces of advice. I love that. And it comes from the heart too, this is what I'm hearing. And over to you, Dan. Your coconut is a successful coconut. What are the 3 layers that make that whole?
Like love and passion, like Jess kind of touched on, for all the same reasons.
Yeah.
Hard work, like we can't describe in 40 minutes how many obstacles and how hard we've had to work to get to the other side of those. And probably like laid in there is perseverance. Like it's like, and I have to keep, like I said before, like swinging the bat at different things until you find there's a lot of no's and a lot of things that go wrong to get to some successful stuff.
I love that. Sure. Well, for the both of you, congratulations. More power to you as you go forward with your family and your business, so on. And I want to thank you both for being on the show.
Thank you. Amazing.